Namaste, my dear children. Welcome to distance learning sessions through videos. This video is made for class 2, subject maths, chapter number 4, addition and subtraction of 3-digit numbers. And this is 6th session on this chapter. Today, let us learn subtraction with regrouping. First, let us take subtracting 3-digit numbers. Example number 11 in our textbook. Subtract 329 from 757. Here, both of the given numbers are 3-digit numbers. So let us subtract the number 329 from 757. Solution. First, let us write down the given numbers vertically or one below the other in place values table as shown here. So we have written 757 in the first row and 329 in the second row. So 329 should be subtracted from 757. First we subtract the digits at ones place, that is we have to subtract 9 from 7. Here 7 is a smaller number than 9, so we cannot subtract 9 ones from 7 ones. So what we do is we will regroup the digits. So what we do, we make this 5 tens as 4 tens and we borrow 1 10 to the ones column. And we know that 1 10 is equal to 10 ones. Therefore, 10 ones and 7 ones together becomes 17 ones. So, we make this 7 as 17 ones by regrouping. So now this 7 ones become 17 ones and 5 tens will be now 4 tens. Now let us subtract 9 ones from 17 ones. So when we subtract 9 ones from 17 ones, what we get is 8 ones. So we write 8 in ones column. Now we should subtract 2 tens from 4 tens. On doing so, we get 2 tens. So let us write 2 here in tens column. In hundreds column, we have 3 hundreds to be subtracted from 7 hundreds. So when we subtract, we get 4 hundreds. So we write 4 in hundreds column. So on subtracting 329 from 757, we get 428 as difference, which can be written as 757 minus 329 is equal to 428. Example number 12. Subtract 149 from 638. Solution. Let us write down the given numbers in place values table. 638 in the first row and 149 in the second row. Here we need to subtract 9 ones from 8 ones, which is not possible. We have to regroup. So what we do now is we make this 3 tens as 2 tens and we borrow 110 to the ones column, which is 10 ones. 10 ones and 8 ones together becomes 18 ones. Now we have 18 ones here. So on subtracting 9 ones from 18 ones, we are left with 9 ones. So 9 should be written in ones column. Now we have to subtract 4 tens from 2 tens here, which is not possible. So we have to regroup again. That is, we make this 600s as 500s and we borrow 100 to the tens column. So first what we do, we make this 600s as 500s and 100 is borrowed to the tens column, and we know that 100 is equal to 10 tens. Therefore 10 tens plus 2 tens becomes 12 tens. So now this becomes 12 tens. I write 12 here, 12 tens. Now let us subtract 4 tens from 12 tens. So on doing so, we get 8 tens as difference. So we write 8 in tens column. Now we move to hundreds column. Here we subtract 100 from 500s. So on subtracting, we get 400s as the difference. Therefore, 489 is the difference of 638 and 149, which can also be written as 638 minus 149 is equal to 489. Example number 13. Subtract 245 from 600. Let us write down these numbers in place values table as shown here. 600 in the first row and 245 in the second row with the minus sign indicating we are subtracting this number from the first number. So we have to subtract 5 from 0 here, which is not possible. We have to regroup now. So if we move to tens place digit, again we have 0 here from which we cannot borrow. We will move to the hundreds place digit. So from this 600, we will borrow 100 to the tens column. So now this becomes 500s. So on regrouping, the 600 becomes 500. So we write 5 here. And when we borrow 100 to the tens column, we can write it as 10 tens. We write 10 here. Again, we need to borrow to ones column. So we make this a 10, 10 as a 9 tens. I write 9 here. And now this becomes 10 ones. Now we subtract 5 ones from 10 ones. We get 5 ones as a difference. So we write 5 in ones column. Here we subtract 4 tens from 9 tens. On doing so, we get 5 tens as a difference. Coming to hundreds column, here we subtract 200s from 500s. We get 300s as the difference. Therefore, 355 is the difference of 600 and 245, which can be written like this also. 600 minus 245 is equal to 355. Now let us see this. Try these number 5. First question here. Subtract 599 from 720. Solution for first question. Let us write down the numbers in place values table, one below the other appropriately according to their place values. That is 720 in the first row and 599 in the second row along with the minus sign. Here we need to subtract 9 ones from 0 ones, which is not possible. We have to regroup now. So we make this 2 tens as 110 and we borrow 110 to the ones column. Now this becomes 110 is 10 ones. So on subtracting 9 ones from 10 ones, we get 1 1. Here we have 9 tens to be subtracted from 1 tens, which is not possible. Again, we regroup here. We make this 7 hundreds as 6 hundreds. We borrow 100 to the tens column and it becomes 10 tens. 10 tens plus 1 10 will be 11 tens. So on subtracting 9 tens from 11 tens, we get 2 tens. Here in hundreds column, we subtract 5 hundreds from 6 hundreds to get 100 as a difference. Therefore, 121 is the difference of 720 and 599. Now let us move to the next question. Second question here. Subtract 367 from 669. Let us write down the numbers appropriately in the place values table as shown here. That is 669 in the first row and 367 in the second row along with the minus sign. Now we subtract the digits at ones place. That is subtracting 7 ones from 9 ones. We get 2 ones. So I write 2 here, 2 ones. And subtracting 6 tens from 6 tens, we get 0. On subtracting 3 hundreds from 6 hundreds, we get 3 hundreds. Therefore, 302 is the difference of 669 and 367. Now let us solve the questions in exercise 4E of your textbook. Question number 1. Here we have 415 minus 218. Let's subtract now. On subtracting 8 ones from 5 ones is not possible. We have to regroup. So what we do now is we make the 110 in tens column as 0 tens, and we borrow 110 to the ones column. It becomes 10 ones. 10 ones and 5 ones together becomes 15 ones. On subtracting 8 ones from 15 ones, we get 7 ones. Here subtracting 110 from 010 is not possible. We should regroup again. So we make this 400s as 300s and 100 is borrowed to a tens column, which becomes 10 tens. So now this will be 10 tens. I write 10 here. Now subtracting 110 from 10 tens, we get 910 as a difference. Here in hundreds column, subtracting 200s from 300s, we get 100. Coming to question number 2, we have 408 minus 379. Subtracting 9 ones from 8 ones is not possible. We have to regroup. In tens column, we have 0, so we move to hundreds column. We make this 400s as 300s. Now borrowing 100 to tens column, it becomes 10 tens. So again regrouping is needed. So we make this 910 and now this will be 18 ones. Subtracting 9 ones from 18 ones, you get 9 ones. And here subtracting 7 tens from 9 tens, you get 2 tens. And subtracting 300s from 300s, you get 0. Therefore, on subtracting 379 from 408, you will get 29 as difference. Question number 3. 680 minus 493. Here, subtracting 3 ones from 0 ones is not possible. We have to regroup. So in tens column, we have 8 tens. We make this 7 tens and we borrow 110 to the ones column. It becomes 10 ones. On subtracting 3 ones from 10 ones, we get 7 ones. Here subtracting 9 tens from 7 tens is not possible. We have to regroup again. So we make 6 hundreds here as 500s and borrow 100 to the tens column. It becomes 10 tens. 10 tens and 7 tens together becomes 17 tens. I write 17 here. And subtracting 9 tens from 17 tens, we get 8 tens as a difference. So I write 8 in tens column here. Coming to hundreds column, we subtract 400s from 500s to get 100 as a difference. Therefore, 187 is the difference of 680 and 493. Question number 4. 800 minus 691. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು 800 ಇಂದ 691 ಅನ್ನು ಸಬ್ಟ್ರಾಕ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. In ones place we have 1 to be subtracted from 0 is not possible. We need to regroup ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬೇಕು. Tens column ಬಂದಾಗ tens column ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂಡ 0 ಇದೆ, from which we cannot borrow anything. So we move to hundreds column. Here we have 800s. ಈ 800 ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ನಾವು, we make this 700s and borrow 100 to tens column and it becomes 10 tens. Again, to make this 0 in ones place non-zero digit, we will regroup again. ಮತ್ತೆ regroup ಮಾಡಬೇಕಿಲ್ಲಿ 10 tens ನ 9 tens ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತೀವಿ. 10 tens ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಇದನ್ನ 9 tens ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋಣ. ಅದಾದ ನಂತರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ 110 ಅನ್ನ ಒನ್ಸ್ ಕಾಲಮಿಗೆ ಬಾರೋ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಾಗ ಇದೇನು ಬರೀಬಹುದು ನಾವು, 10 ones ಅನ್ನಾಗಿ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಬಹುದು. 10 ones. So subtracting 1 from 10 ones, we get 9 ones. And on subtracting 9 tens from 9 tens, we get 0 tens. On subtracting 600s from 700s, we get 100. Therefore, 109 is the difference of 800 and 691. Question number 5. 645 minus 328. So let's regroup and subtract. So we make this 3 tens, and now this will be 15 ones. On subtracting 8 ones from 15 ones, we get 7 ones. Here we subtract 2 tens from 3 tens to get 110, and subtracting 300s from 600s, we get 300s. So 317 is the difference of 645 and 328. Question number 6. 585 minus 108. We start from ones place here. Subtracting 8 ones from 5 ones is not possible. Regrouping is needed. So we make the 8 tens here as 7 tens and bring or borrow 1 10 to the ones column. So now this 5 tens becomes 15 ones. On subtracting 8 ones from 15 ones, we get 7 ones. Here we subtract 0 tens from 7 tens to get 7 tens. Subtracting 0 from any number will give us same number. And in the hundreds column, we have 100 to be subtracted from 500. On doing so, we get 400s. Therefore, 477 is the difference of 585 and 108. Question number 7. 432 minus 380. Here we subtract 0 ones from 2 ones to get 2 ones as a difference. Subtracting 8 tens from 3 tens is not possible. We have to regroup. So we make this 400s as 300s, and 100 is borrowed to the tens column, and now this becomes 13 tens. Subtracting 8 tens from 13 tens, we get 5 tens as a difference. Subtracting 300s from 300s, we get 0. Therefore, 52 is the difference of 432 and 380. Question number 8. 445 minus 227. Subtracting 7 ones from 5 ones is not possible, so we have to regroup. We come to tens column. We make this 4 tens as 3 tens, and 1 10 is borrowed to ones column to make this 5 ones as 15 ones. Now subtracting 7 ones from 15 ones, we get 8 ones. Subtracting 200s from 300s, we get 100. On subtracting 200s from 400s, we get 200s. So here We subtracted 7 ones from 15 ones to get 8 ones, and subtracting 2 tens from 3 tens we get 1 10, and subtracting 2 hundreds from 4 hundreds we get 2 hundreds. So 218 is the difference of 445 and 227. Coming to question number 9, we have 523 minus 286. Let us subtract here. Since the digit here is larger than this, we need to regroup. So we make the two tens here as 110, and 110 is borrowed to ones column. Now this becomes 13 ones. On subtracting 6 from 13 ones, we get 7 ones. Here we cannot subtract 8 tens from 110, so we need to regroup again. We make this 500 as 400s, and 100 is borrowed. So now this becomes 1110. Subtracting 8 tens from 11 tens, we get 3 tens. Subtracting 200s from 400s, we get 200s. Therefore, 237 is the difference of 523 and 286. Question number 10. 456 minus 178. So we regroup. We make this 5 tens as 4 tens. And now this becomes 16 ones. Subtracting 8 ones from 16 ones, you get 8 ones. And here you cannot subtract 7 tens from 4 tens. Regrouping is needed. You make this 300s. And now this becomes 14 tens. And subtracting 7 tens from 14 tens, you get 7 tens. And subtracting 100 from 300s, you get 200s. 278 is the difference of 456 and 178. Question number 11. Subtract 333 minus 199. So we need to regroup here. So we make the 3 tens here as 2 tens. And now this will be 13 ones. Subtracting 9 ones from 13 ones, you get 4. And subtracting 9 tens from 2 tens is not possible. Regroup again. Now this becomes 200s. This will be 12 tens. Subtract 9 tens from 12 tens, you get 3 tens. And subtracting 100 from 200s, you get 100. Therefore, 134 is the difference of 333 and 199. Question number 12. 334 minus 288. So to subtract 8 from 4, we regroup. We make this 2 tens and borrow 1 10 to the ones column. This becomes 14 ones. Subtracting 8 from 14 ones, you get 6 ones. Here to subtract 8 tens from 2 ones, you need to regroup again. Make this 300s as 200s. Now this becomes 12 tens. Now subtract 8 tens from 12 tens to get 4 tens. Subtracting 200s from 200s, we get 0. Therefore, 46 is the difference of 334 and 288. Question number 13. 657 minus 295. Subtracting 5 from 7. On subtracting 5 from 7 ones, you get 2 ones. Write 2 here. And subtracting 9 tens from 5 tens is not possible. You need to regroup. Make this 500s. Borrow 100 to the tens column. And now this becomes 15 tens. Subtract 9 tens from 15 tens, you get 6 tens. And subtracting 200s from 500s, you get 300s. Therefore, 362 is the difference of 657 and 295. Coming to question number 14, we have 956 minus 465. Subtracting 5 from 6, you get 1. Subtracting 6 from 5 is not possible. Regrouping is needed. So we make this 900s as 800s. Borrow 100 to tens column. Now this becomes 15 tens. Subtract 6 tens from 15 tens, you get 9 tens. Subtracting 4 hundreds from 800s, you get 4 hundreds. Therefore, 491 is the difference of 956 and 465. Question number 15. 572 minus 178. Subtracting 8 ones from 2 ones is not possible. Regrouping is needed. We make this as 7 tens as 6 tens, and now this becomes 12 ones. Subtracting 8 ones from 12 ones, you get 4 ones. Here to subtract 7 tens from 6 tens, you need to regroup again. We make this 500s as 400s. Now this becomes 16 tens. Subtract 7 tens from 16 tens, you get 9 tens. And on subtracting 100 from 400s, you get 300s. Therefore, 394 is the difference of 572 and 178. Next question, question number 16. 666 minus 576. Subtracting 6 from 6, you get 0. So we write 0 here. Subtracting 7 tens from 6 tens is not possible. You need to regroup. We regroup 600s as 500s and borrow 100 to tens column. Now this becomes 16 tens. Subtracting 7 tens from 16 tens, we get 9 tens. And subtracting 500s from 500s, we get 0. Therefore, 90 is the difference of 666 and 576. Question number 17. 210 minus 171. So to subtract 1 from 0 is not possible. So we regroup. We make this 110 as 0, 10, and we borrow 110 to ones column. It becomes 10 ones. Subtracting 1 from 10 ones, we get 9 ones. Here to subtract 7 from 0 is not possible. So you need to regroup. You make this 100. Now this becomes 10 tens. Subtracting 7 tens from 10 tens, we get 3 tens. Subtracting 100 from 100, we get 0. So 39 is the difference of 210 and 171. Question number 18. We have 907 minus 587. So here we subtract 7 from 7 and we get 0. To subtract 8 from 0 tens is not possible. We have to regroup here. We make this 900s as 800s. Borrow 100 to tens column to make this 0 as 10 tens. Subtracting 8 tens from 10 tens, you get 2 tens. Here we subtract 500s from 800s to get 300s as a difference. So 320 is the difference of 907 and 587. Now we move to question number 19. Here we have 950 minus 475. So we to subtract 5 from 0, we need to regroup. We make this 4 tens, and now this becomes 10 ones. Subtracting 5 ones from 10 ones, you get 5 ones. And to subtract 7 tens from 4 tens, regrouping is needed. We make this 800s. Now this becomes 14 tens. And subtracting 7 tens from 14 tens, you get 7 tens. On subtracting 400s from 800s, you get 400s. So 475 is the difference of 950 and 475. coming to question number 20, we have 400 minus 198. Here we need to regroup to subtract 8 from 0. So moving to tens column, again we have 0. So from hundreds column digit we will borrow or regroup the hundreds column digit. So we make this 400s as 300s and borrow 100 to tens column. Now this becomes a 10 10, and again we regroup this 10 10 as 9 10 and 110, and 110 is borrowed to ones column, and 110 is equal to 10 ones. So on subtracting 8 ones from 10 ones you get 2 ones, and subtracting 9 tens from 9 tens you get 0. Subtracting 100 from 300s you get 200s. Therefore 202 is the difference of 400 and 198. So we have solved several problems in today's session. I hope you understood all these problems we discussed in today's session. Thank you for watching this video. Bye bye children.